Um, it was like I received a university course in every form of study known to man, and it got rid of all of the contradictions within all of those studies, and it was like bombarding me all at once. We receive information one word after another. That's time. One word follows another word that follows another word, and each word takes up 1 second, another second, another second. When you get this all-knowing, it comes instantly. And that has been one of my biggest challenges. It's like, okay, how do you explain all of this? How do you explain a master university course in everything dealing with humanity? Because the way we communicate is in time. We communicate one word after another word. And when I try and explain my knowing, it's like we have shortened the way we comprehend things. We have text where you can only explain things in 100 characters, or else if you can't explain everything in a very condensed manner, then somebody's comprehension will misinterpret everything. That was my frustration, is I'm trying to explain something and right away, as soon as I say 2 or 3 sentences, somebody will say I'm wrong, and it's like, how the hell can you say I'm wrong when I haven't even finished explaining what it is I'm trying to explain? And that has been the frustration, is how do you give people an all-knowing when it's like you're in the reality of time right now. You communicate in this experience of time, and this Mayan calendar is suggesting that by 2012 we'll get rid of time. That is suggesting that we will get this all-knowing by 2012. But it's control your anger, control your negative experience. Just every time you're frustrated or angry or experiencing anything negative, which is basically evil, it's just a lack of information. You are being challenged. Your belief systems are forced to crash. And this is like genius and insanity, is that you're a genius. You know so much information, but you can't communicate it. You can't relate to the rest of the universe. So when you try to explain something, people will think you're totally insane. They pay me to be insane. Why? Because they don't understand me. And it's only if I am in my genius and don't understand the opposition that's judging me, will I actually turn into what they judge me to be. I will appear insane because I will go mad with my frustration of not knowing how to communicate this. It's almost, P-brains is another way of seeing where humanity is going from. We are perceiving, P-brains, one brain is viewing your world with just a particle with height. 2 brain is particle height width. 3 is a 3-dimensional. You view your world in a 3-dimension. 4 is viewing 3-dimensional objects moving in time. In order to see yourself doing it, you're one level above. It's like you're a fish in a fishbowl, but to know you're a fish in that fishbowl, you have to be outside that fishbowl. So if we are experiencing everything in the 4th dimension, you have to actually be in the 5th to see yourself in the 4th. So I believe a lot of us are in the 5th, but we're actually moving into the 6th, where we're seeing ourselves in the 5th. And it will be an elimination of time, that problem looking for its solution. So while we are experiencing the 5th dimension, it will be more of a comprehension of, this is a good thing. Everything that we appear to be negative, we will perceive it as something that's really good. But instead of being caught up in the problems, we're going to be caught up in the solutions. You will get this all-knowing. You will be able to read somebody's mind because you will be able to comprehend, well, why are you focusing on what you focus on? It's really easy for me to see what people are, what's inside them, because of the words they use. The words that they use are showing me what their belief systems are. And then when you see what somebody's belief systems are, and you play that game out as to, okay, if you believe that, do you know that you can predict the future based on your belief systems? And you will actually be creating everything you don't want based on that belief system. And it seems to be really offensive when I throw that back at somebody and say, well, why would you want to believe that if your outcome is not what you want? That offensiveness is this challenging of their left brain rules that they don't want to change. And clearly my inability to be able to communicate that so it's not offensive but more loving, which means I have to be loving and peaceful while I'm trying to communicate. I have to trust in myself that I will get an all-knowing of how to communicate this more effectively, but it will take time. It's like when I received this all-knowing, it was almost like I jumped into this sixth dimension where I seen everything, but we are a oneness, that it doesn't make any sense whether I'm in that sixth dimension. I'm all alone. Loneliness is you can't interact in your world when you're the only one living life in that way. It is like you have to take all of humanity up with you. So that's where you gotta kind of forget everything in that sixth and come back down into this fifth, so that you can be at one with the universe and then try and uplift and inspire and suggest and set visualizations to guide us into that sixth. Seems to be where I'm finding more common sense with how I can solve the problem. It really is. Take a step back and see, where is it you want to go? Which superposition do you want to be in? There is an information field that you can access perfect information at all times if you are in the superposition of being peaceful and loving as much as possible, holding these six intentions that are in this water concept. If you can feel all of those and ask any question in the universe, you'll get every single answer you possibly want. But if you're lacking any of these intentions within inside you and you ask the universe will give you answers that will support everything that's wrong. It is like asking evil, tell me through your intuition what's the answer. And so you gotta be happy and loving while the universe is not happy and loving, so that you can access that information and get that all-knowing instantly. It is just as fast as the power of thought. It's what are you thinking about? And this will actually change DNA. What you think about creates the chemicals, the peptides and proteins that get attached to your DNA and then eventually transforms your DNA. So it's like your DNA, your thought processes, the streams of thoughts in your mind are sort of on cruise control and creating the hell that you want to experience, the health issues, because it will all lead to bad health. But if you are in control of what you think about, control what super direction, what superposition you want to go into, then you create the heaven that you want to experience. You will attract every single thing that you want to experience, and you can do it instantly with the power of thought, the power of intention, the power of knowing your intuition, which is something that all of society has been trying to suppress. Your intuition. Don't listen to your intuition, because if you listen to your intuition, then you won't follow me. I want you to work for me. I want you to be my slave. Your intuition will say that ain't a good thing. So it's best for you not to listen to your intuition, otherwise you would do the right thing for yourself, and I don't want you to do that. I want you to listen to me. So that's why humanity has been trying to tell you, don't listen to your intuition. Why? Because we don't know how to use intuition, because intuition can access all evil, bad, negative information, or it can access all good, all God-knowing. That's why it's like, if you want to get closer to God, God has all information. It's like it's our creator. It is the information field. So if you want to get to know God directly and not through a book, religion has screwed up all of humanity, and the people that wrote those books probably were really, really angry at the time and wanted to solve a problem and access this all-knowing from God, and yet didn't quite understand what God was trying to say. So that's why most books are actually creating more wars and disagreement and judgments, and it's full of contradictions, full of child abuse. But nobody is recognizing it, and you cannot change somebody's belief system that's following a Bible, because they're not following their own intuition. They're following a book, somebody else's intuition. Best thing to do is follow your own advice. Know how to get your own advice. Don't follow my advice. I am not the one that has the answers for you. I only have the answers, the all-knowing, for me. And it's just a tool for you to find your all-knowing in your superposition that will create the future that you want. And we are oneness. We have to do this all together if we want to survive. Moving on.
The only requirement for an abstract arrow of time and consistent continuity or reality is the algorithm describing the pattern or abstract sequence of vectors. Since this continuity brings about our ability to be self-aware, it inherently makes us subject to its mathematical consequences, the fundamental laws of physics. Interaction is merely an interpretation of what is essentially an abstract pattern. This is why quantum mechanics can only provide mathematical descriptions, since it can only describe patterns within infinite probabilities. When a probability is expressed as C, the information necessary to describe the current moment or probability amplitude of C is also what embodies the arrow of time. The nature of the arrow of time is one of the biggest unsolved problems in physics and has been responsible for many new popular interpretations. The holographic principle, for example, a property of quantum gravity and string theories, theorizes how the entire universe can be seen as an information structure of only 2 dimensions.
I find that odd that this explanation, holographics, for example, gives a two-dimensional view. And what is the goal? To receive more than 2 dimensions or 1 dimension? The 2 dimension kind of is perceived as, are you creating reality, or is reality pushed on you? And it's like you versus them. We are all part of the whole. So there is only 1 dimension. It's only 2 dimensions if you look at it from your perspective or the perspective of the other. How do you get into that one view of things? And it's the holographic concept is, just picture yourself in a holographic game. Everything is just an illusion. It's just a concept, a story you create in your mind, a belief. You believe the story you're telling yourself. So you can tell yourself better stories, but you tend to tell bad stories. But if you view it from a perspective that it is just a holographic game, and your controller, the thing that you're playing the game with, is actually your body, your consciousness, your awareness of self, that self is creating all of reality. When self starts mastering the controls that you were given,